Appleton has the second best tasting water in the nation. That is, if you believe the People's Choice Tap Water Taste Test from the attendees of the recent American Water Works Association conference. They sampled waters from across the country, and Appleton came in second, right below Denver. The 2024 Water Utility Report Card for Appleton gave its water quality a grade of 99.9. That's equivalent to an A. However, for water infrastructure and operations, the city got a D. Regardless, raise a glass of great-tasting tap water in Appleton to celebrate. I'm Lisa Hale, 97.9 WGBW News. For news anytime, log on to WGBW.FM.
The NBA Draft is underway. Hi, I'm Mike Clemens with sports basketball. Last night at the NBA Draft in New York.
With the fourth pick in the 2025 NBA Draft, the Charlotte Hornets select Con Knippel from Duke University.
Con Knippel, 6'7", 217 pounds, grew up in Milwaukee and led Wisconsin Lutheran High School to a state championship before playing last year for Duke University.
I'm super excited. I love North Carolina this year, obviously. Had a lot of fun, and I'll just be down the road.
Knippel, the highest player ever taken in the draft from the state of Wisconsin. Baseball. The Brewers have the day off before hosting the Rockies tomorrow night. The Crew beat the Pirates 4-2. Jacob Mizorowski got his third win in a row. Trevor McGill, who earned the save, on how the Miz performed.
I mean, he just looks like he's very grateful to be here, to be honest. Taking the pressure and putting it on himself. He just looks like he's out there having fun and just being the kid everybody knows he is.
That's Brewers closer Trevor McGill with Sports on Mike Clemens.
Connecting audiences, powering brands. This is Civic Media. Learn more at civicmedia.us/advertise.
I'm meteorologist Mace Michaels. Scattered showers and thunderstorms tonight. Some could be strong with areas of heavy rainfall as well. Remaining cloudy with a low in the low 60s. Slight storm chance tomorrow morning, mostly cloudy, highs 70 to 75. Heating up for the weekend. Currently at 64 degrees.
The Maggie Dawn Show.
Indy Dattagupta, he is with the Center for Law and Social Policy.
The Trump administration's agenda is reducing economic growth. The programs that they're proposing cutting, like Medicaid and SNAP, especially for kids, actually more than pay for themselves. So we are really looking at a tough long-term economic outlook entirely created by the current policymakers.
The award-winning Maggie Dawn Show at its new time, weekdays 4 till 6 p.m. The Todd Albaugh Show.
The Joint Finance Committee was leaked that they intend to cut $87 million from the UW system budget. And so we put this out on our socials last night, and today the Joint Finance Committee decided to pull that from the agenda. Because apparently, from what I'm told, Republican legislators got a lot of calls. When the truth is disseminated and people react, results can happen.
The Todd Albaugh Show, weekdays 2 to 4 on your local Civic Media radio station and on the app. Rational Revolution with Mark Becker.
We're talking with former Republican operative Carlton Huffman about the Iran strikes and the One Big Beautiful Bill.
Broadcasting live statewide from the Civic Media Studios in Green Bay. This is Nite with Pete Schwaba, your inside source on everything entertainment from Wisconsin to Hollywood. And now, a guy who gives edible undies as gifts just because they taste good, Pete Schwaba.
Welcome to Nightlight, ladies and gentlemen. I forgot about that one. Have you been burying that, keeping that in the vault, waiting to break it out?
Yeah. It's a great one, isn't it?
You know, you get home late at night, you got a game waiting for you, you're hungry, you just eat a nice pair of edible undies. It's not, nothing has to be weird about it. Nobody has to make it a kinky, weird, dirty fetish thing. It's just, they just taste good.
What flavor are you rocking?
Strawberry.
Strawberry?
Yeah.
I'd probably go for a watermelon.
Strawberry banana.
Oh,
maybe.
Okay.
Watermelon's good.
You know, you'll have to bring some samples in.
Watermelon's good. It's a superfood.
Yes.
Yeah. I don't know if that translates to edible underwear, but yeah, I'll bring some in. I'll bring that when I ask to go to the 4th of July party. What can I bring? And they'll say, surprise us. And oh boy, will I.
You shouldn't have said that.
Done and done. Welcome to Nightlight, ladies and gentlemen. Great to have you with me on this Thursday night. Lots of fun to be had tonight. It's another gloomy day in Wisconsin, and that is radio weather as far as I'm concerned. It is a beautiful day when it comes to radio and discussing the things we love, movies and TV and music and comedy. We're doing the popcorn pick of the week tonight. That'll be fun. And we're talking indie film tonight. Tom Clark, comedian Tom Clark, will be here at 6:35. Tom, I just had the pleasure of doing a read-through. We have a mutual friend who I didn't know Tom knew, who has been on this show, Rich Tallarico. Tom is good friends with Rich as well, and Rich put together a read-through of his new movie script that we did over Zoom the other day, and Tom read the lead role, and it was very funny. So we'll talk to Tom about that, and anything else he's got cooking. We have a little, how funny is that clip I sent you?
It's good.
He is a great stand-up, and we'll play. I've got about a minute-long clip of Tom's appearance on Conan that we'll tease in the next segment before he joins us at 6:35 to make the popcorn pick of the week. I know Tom's going to come up with something good, and then Grace Painter Cozell. I want to make sure I'm saying this right because I did reach out to her and I asked her phonetically how to say her name, and I think we nailed it. So we will. We'll talk to Grace at 7:20 or 7:35. I can't remember when we booked Grace, but she will be here. And she is the founder of Ruby Red Films, which will be, they do a lot of stuff. Grace will be here at 7:20. They're doing a lot of stuff. They've got a project in the works now. She's a Milwaukee-based filmmaker and just reached out to the show about 2 weeks ago. So I'm glad we got her on because her project sounds great, and I'm very excited to talk to Grace at 7:20 over the stream. And we've got, this is so funny. We talked about that when JB Thompson was here a couple weeks ago, the guy behind the guy.
Yep.
I made just kind of an aside almost, a throwaway comment about how I thought shaking hands was silly. And it is. It's just kind of a weird thing. I don't know how it came to be. I've done a little research on the topic. Apparently, it's to show the person you're standing opposite from that you're not carrying a weapon. Because oftentimes, people that are right-handed would reach across the body and pull out a sword, some kind of weapon. So if you reached out your right hand and put it out, you were showing them you were not carrying a weapon or a sword or a machete. So it served its purpose back then, but mostly people don't walk around with weaponry like that.
Yeah, I would say it probably isn't the same meaning anymore.
Right. But we've just grown accustomed to it, so we still do it. I think it's strange.
So what do you think shaking hands actually means?
Well, it's just like a hello, how do you do? How's your father?
Is it some sort of respect?
I think it's just a peaceful greeting.
But greeting.
And I'm fine with all of that. I do think it's strange, like when you introduce two people. Hello, stranger. I'd like to squeeze your hand. Let's have an intimate act here. I have no idea where it's been or how you choose to use your hand in your spare time, but I'd like to hold it for a while.
The video that we're going to play that you sent me about the handshaking, I thought it was hilarious because he's like, don't do these. It's like,
Right.
I think I've done all of these.
Of course. And I had a friend who is going through insurance training, and he learned that when you shake a man's hand, and a lot of times that's the thing, it becomes kind of a pissing contest for men. It's who can squeeze harder, who has and that's what's silly too. And this guy said with the insurance company he was undergoing training for, they suggested when you grab someone else's hand, you kind of turn yours a little bit so your hand is on top, establishing dominance. Like they're going to buy renter's insurance from you because of that. It makes no sense.
The one, I don't know if you've seen this before, when someone shakes a hand and then they'll put the other hand too with it.
Oh, yeah. That's way too intimate.
That is weird.
That's like you're basically dating at that point. We don't need that. And then there's the guy that tries to squeeze the living daylights out of your hand, catching you off guard. It's like, This shouldn't be a contest. But I find the idea that you just meet someone and you're holding a body part of theirs, it's just kind of odd. Like in the Far East, they do the bow. That kind of says the same thing. It's nice to meet you.
I feel like that's more respect too.
Yeah. And I think the handshake that drives me the most crazy, though, is you ever get that guy who will shake your hand and his index finger kind of crawls up your wrist a little bit? That's invasive.
Yeah, I know it. Yeah.
And very off-putting.
You know, the worst one, I think, when you're shaking hands, I usually don't tend to initiate it myself.
Yeah.
But someone who recently washed their hand, and then you get the wet hand.
Yeah, that even though that's a clean hand, it's still very unsettling.
Or you don't know if they washed their hand or if it's something else.
Well, you think they just peed on their hand and offered it to you?
It could have.
What kind of a psychopath would that have to be? Yeah, but there are those guys, they squeeze it so hard, it's like, it's sort of like it's like buying a huge pickup truck. Or I think it's the same thing. You're compensating. If you're willing to grab someone's hand that hard, it's just not cool. So with that in mind, I think it's time to go to our question of the night.
Let's talk about the question.
Okay, question.
Question. Question.
Pregunta.
Question.
Question.
Okay, I have a question. Questions? This question.
Domanda.
Question. Questions.
Oh, you guessed it. Ladies and gentlemen, perfect timing. This is National Handshake Day. I'm not making that up. There is a day that celebrates the shaking of hands. How do you feel about the handshake? I want to know. And what would be a better custom? I like the fist bump. Just kind of touch knuckles. It's a very quick kind of, again, I don't know why we have to touch each other when we barely know each other. But I like the knuckles better than the handshake. Unless it's a friend. Look, and I'm a hugger. Like if I know someone well and I haven't seen them in a while, bring it in. Let's go, man.
Okay.
I'll give a hug.
Yeah.
But I find the handshake, kind of strange. So let us know what you think about the handshake. How do you feel about the handshake? And what would be a better custom? What do you think would be more apropos? 855-752-4842. 855-75-CIVIC. Get on it. And text us on the stream, too, folks. If you're listening on the stream, we love to get stream texts. Or if you're watching, on the app. If you're watching on the stream, YouTube, Facebook, and or Twitter X, send in your thoughts. Would love to get them. So I think a bow is good. I think knuckles. How about some weird move? How about a dab? I think that could be kind of cool. Let's have a mini dance off to say we like each other.
Well, I don't like that one.
Yeah, well, you know what? It's not all about you, Conrad. So here's a video I found. I was looking for my buddy Mike Toomey finds these old instructional videos, and I couldn't find one on the handshake. And I basically Googled I probably have no more fingerprints because of my Googling today. But I found a kind of a mock old school handshake video. So let's hear that now.
Bill, what's got you so on edge?
I'm just so nervous to meet all these new people today. I'm afraid I'm going to shake their hands and they won't like me.
Bill, there's nothing to be afraid of. Over your lifetime and career, you will shake many a hand at social and professional gatherings. And during that brief moment of physical contact, people are going to form opinions of you. Your handshake could give them the impression that you're a warm, kind person, or a cold and aloof one. You'll want to know how to give a handshake that creates a favorable impression.
I know, that's a lot of pressure.
Bill, don't be such a little emasculated mass of inanity. It's time to be a man and learn how to shake a hand properly.
Well, all right then.
There are 3 keys to a successful handshake. As you take the other person's hand, make sure to grasp it fully. The web between your thumb and forefinger should connect with the web of the other person's hand. Don't give a finger shake. Be sure your handshake grip is firm, not a dead fish grip like a pansy. However, you don't want to crush the other person's hand with a gorilla death grip. Give the person's hand one pump and then release.
I have a couple things. If you use the word pansy and you really mean it, we're done. And don't say man card. That's another one. Oh, you better give up your man card. Okay. Those two commonalities I could do away with. But so there are rules, right?
You know, like it said in there, I've done all those. I've had a limp hand sometimes, not, going into it, and then all of a sudden they got the death grip, and I'm sitting there just like,
And you can't, once they go in and really squeeze your hand, you can't squeeze back because you're basically a dead fish at that point. You're at their mercy.
Your pointer finger and your pinky's just getting crushed.
It's awful. They're all, your fingers are like over the other ones. Tom Clark, our guest at 635, very funny stand-up comedian, actor, and Wisconsin native son, has a very funny joke about handshake. He has a great bit. I would Google this if I were you folks. Go Google Tom Clark awkward moments, something like that. He does a great joke about shaking someone's hand, and to make it extra weird, smell your hand after you shake their hand.
No.
And it's so great. He sells it so well on stage.
So you know what? I think instead of a handshake, like in the animal kingdom, they bump heads.
Like a ram? That might be too much.
That would be pretty cool.
Less intimate.
You say, "Hey, nice to meet you." Just bump your heads together.
Bud, yeah. Break someone's nose. Yeah, that's great. So I want to tell you, all right, that's our question tonight, folks. It's National Handshake Day. This day exists. How do you feel about the handshake? And what would be a better custom? I called 911 today on my way down.
Really?
Someone was swerving, dude. Like, it was bad news. I was on the phone with the cops for about 5 minutes, and I told them what kind of car. And this guy was like, literally, and everybody's trying to avoid him. It was crazy. You know what? That's a guy whose hand I do not want to shake. I would like to give him a beating, though.
No.
But, all right, let us know your thoughts on the handshake, folks. 855-752-4842. Tom Clark is here tonight making the popcorn pick of the week. We'll hear some of Tom's comedy next, and I'll read your text. This is Nightlight with Pete Schwaba on the Civic Media Radio Network.
Go! Go!
You're listening to the Talk of Green Bay, WGBW, home for Matinee on Air.
Are you living with dry AMD? If so, you could be on the road to geographic atrophy, or GA, a condition that leads to retinal cell death and permanent vision loss. But with Izervay, you can
slow it down and get it going slower.
Izervay slows GA progression by targeting a key source of retinal cell death, which may help preserve your vision longer. Izervay, or Avastin Capted Pagel, is a prescription eye injection used to treat GA. Don't take it if you have an infection or active swelling in or around your eye. Izervay can cause eye infection, retinal detachment, or increased risk of wet AMD. Izervay may temporarily increase eye pressure. Your vision may be impaired after an eye injection or exam. Don't delay. Ask your doctor about Izervay today.
Izervay gets GA going slower.
Visit Izervay.com. That's IZERVAY.com. Paid for by Astellas Pharma.
Get outside for a little bit and off the screens with the perfect event this Sunday. It's Amanda with another new Wisco 411 for you, brought to you by Area 509 in Appleton. Head to Whitney Park on Sunday for Play-by-Play Theater's presentation of William Shakespeare's Hamlet for theater in the park. It's a free show beginning at 6 this Sunday about a young prince that's haunted by the ghost of his father, who realizes a chilling truth, which I won't spoil if you haven't seen it. Head to WGBW.FM and click events to find out more.
This is your captain. We are going to be experiencing some slight turbulence. Please fasten your... Oh, hold on. Just got a video of my cat.
Imagine the pilot of an airplane was as confident as you are texting and driving. Seems kind of crazy when you put it like that.
Visit StopTextStopWrecks.org. A message brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration, Project Yellow Light, and the Ad Council.
I was stuck in a state of panic and endless rituals, so I made the call.
Mental health care works when you make the call. Visit mentalhealthcareworks.org. A message from the American Psychiatric Association Foundation.
I do come from a long line of show business people. Actually, my great-great-grandfather was actually a Civil War reenactor during the Civil War. A little ahead of his time. My parents are older than me. If your parents are younger, you're probably adopted. But they are older. And growing up, they were very homophobic. They're very homophobic. They hated words that sounded the same but meant something completely different.
That is such a great joke. I absolutely love that joke. I got to watch Tom. He did my football fundraiser for me in Marinette about a year and a half ago with his hilarious wife, Steph. They both did the show, and man, what a great show that was. And Steph is hilarious too. She did the middle spot, and then Tom closed, and getting to watch him for 45 minutes or an hour maybe even was just outstanding. So Tom will be here at 6:35 to do the popcorn pick of the week. And all right, you have to, now I just told you the story before the break about how I called 911 on my way down here because a minivan, some single dude in a minivan was swerving all over the place. Then he's going 60, then he's going 90, and it's like, I don't hesitate anymore. I call 911, and I stayed on the phone for about 5 minutes, and this 911 operator got all this information. But you had a story that you told me about during the break. Tell that story. That's very funny.
Well, I don't know, it unlocked a memory for me. And when I was younger, I don't know, 10, I think, I was with my cousin, and we were at a bowling alley, and we were out like those between two doors, you know, and they usually have a payphone in there.
Yeah.
And we didn't think that if we didn't have the money in there, it would actually call 911. So we typed it in. There's no money in it, and it still went through. And when they said, "Hey, this is 911, what's your emergency?" I just handed it to my cousin. And all I heard from him was, "This is Colin."
He told the 911 operator his name.
So they showed up at the bowling alley, and we weren't there anymore, but they found out who it was, and my aunt and they took us to the police station, and we got lectured by the
You got a
cop
talking to.
why it's not good.
That's so
to
great.
Call 911 in a non-emergency.
I absolutely love that.
We were so scared. We thought we were getting locked up.
I thought you committed. It's like a felony.
Yeah.
That's fantastic. How old were you?
I think I was like 9 or 10, something around there.
That's great. Our question of the night, it's National Handshake Day, folks. How do you feel about the handshake? And what would be a better custom? On the stream, Dave says, pull my finger.
Okay.
It's actually less invasive. I don't know if we need to bring bodily functions into the equation, Dave, but sure, why not? Pull my finger. Going to the social media responses from earlier today, Amanda says, surprise attacks.
Like a surprise tickle?
A tickle or just a takedown? It's kind of an escalation.
Hey, nice to meet you.
Yeah. I'm going to kneecap you. Thank you, Amanda. Mike Desatel says, I like the handshake. It's civil. I knew Mike was going to like the handshake. Mike is a ridiculously good citizen. And
I'd like to shake his hand.
Like the handshake.
Yeah, I'd like to shake his hand.
Yeah, he says it's civil. That it is. However, I'm not opposed to arm wrestling. Now you made it weird, Mike. Our pal Vince Moranto says, grab ass. Yeah, why not? I mean, come on. It's just a butt. And you're clothed. Go for it, Vince. Let us know how that works out for you.
I wouldn't recommend doing that.
I don't want to be the first one in, I'll tell you that much. Dave Hendrick. Oh, my buddy Dave. Love Dave. He says, I like secret handshakes.
Yeah, those are good.
Secret handshakes are great, but
how would you get a
with
secret
a stranger? You know, you just kind of improv it, I guess.
Yeah.
That can be kind of cool too. I like all these so far. These are great answers, as usual, here from the Nightlight listeners. And Andrea from Grafton says, since there are far too many healthcare... that is not intended for us. Sorry, Andrea, we're not going to read... it's a little too political for Nightlight, but thank you to you for getting involved. And texting, I assume that was meant for Maggie.
Yes.
Hopefully Maggie will see that. Cam from Appleton said, that's not for us either. Hey, Conrad, did we get any texts that were mentioned for us, or meant for us tonight?
Yes. Tom from New Berlin said,
the H?
Shaking hands is great, but try bumping uglies.
That's too far, Tom. He says with you, Pete. So he doesn't like him either. But he's going a little too far. I was thinking of something less invasive or intimate, and Tom's just putting it all out there. I don't think I like that. And I think a hug is okay if you do like the bro hug, if you shake hands and you keep the arms between you when you hug.
You know, last week when I was lifting weights, I asked someone to spot me for bench press, and I got what I wanted. I said, I want to do about 4, and I did it. And the guy showed some respect. He gave me some knucks.
Yeah.
And I was like, that's great. Not a lot of people do that in the gym because they're always like, oh, this guy, he can lift more than me, or he can't lift as much as me.
So you lifted more than him.
I don't know if I did. I'm just saying that's like some mentalities, and like that gym atmosphere. But he's just like, good job.
Dude, there are some, I love when I work out because there's never anybody there.
Yeah.
But when I was living in LA, I remember I was on like an extra cycle or whatever, and this guy next to me, and this guy looked like a Bigfoot. Like he had hair everywhere.
Okay.
He was a sweaty mess. And he reaches over, or he goes, "Can I take a look at your sports?" This is when newspapers, you put the newspaper over the bike, and I always save the sports because I like that the best. So he starts to reach for it, and then he goes, "Can I take a look at your sports?" And I go, "Yeah, as soon as I'm done." He goes, "Oh, is that how it is?" Yeah, sweaty McGee. Freak. Hey,
he could just say, "All right, let me know when you're done."
Right. Or here's an idea. The LA Times at that time was a quarter.
Get your own.
You got a Bally's membership. Get yourself a newspaper. And I want to talk about Scarlett Johansson and Colin Jost clickbait too, but we'll save that. Remind me that. I got tricked into clicking. It's happened before. All right, folks, when we come back, it's the Popcorn Pick of the Week. Our pal Tom Clark is here, the very funny comedian and Wisconsin native son. Gives us a movie to check out. You won't want to miss that. Tom is always a blast. This is Pete Schwaba and Nightlight on the Civic Media Radio Network.
Ride like a 747 and you lose yourself in the sky among the clouds in the heaven goes. Let this groove.
The talk of Green Bay, WGBW. Reach, engage, grow with Civic Media. Log on civicmedia.us/advertise.
For 97.9 WGBW News, I'm Lisa Hale. The Wisconsin Supreme Court has sided with Republicans in the legislature in the court's latest decision on power struggles between the legislative and executive branches. Savannah Tomei Olson has more.
This case centers around the science of reading bills. In 2023, lawmakers passed bills that would reform how Wisconsin educators teach kids how to read, in line with research-backed methods. When it came time to sign those bills, Governor Tony Evers used his partial veto power to streamline the funding mechanisms for the bill. Republicans filed a lawsuit claiming Evers overstepped his authority. By unanimous decision, the liberal-controlled Wisconsin Supreme Court agreed that was above Evers' scope as governor. Meanwhile, Republicans passed those bills that change how Wisconsin kids learn how to read, which requires training and new materials, but they haven't released the money to pay for those changes. It's set aside sitting in an emergency fund. The state's high court ruled leaving the bill unfunded and holding on to that cash is constitutional. Now, the court has been busy, and its decisions are being released rapid fire. In the last week or so, the state's high court sided with Attorney General Josh Kaul over Republicans in the legislature in another case of deciding powers between the executive and legislative branches. The court also ruled in favor of state regulators, saying that the DNR can force businesses to clean up contaminants like PFAS. We're expecting at least one more big decision from the state Supreme Court by Monday, and that would be a ruling on Wisconsin's 1849 abortion law. They're on the clock here because the court session officially ends on Monday. Justice Ann Walsh Bradley will retire after 30 years on the bench, and then Susan Crawford will be sworn in on August 1st. For Civic Media News, I'm Savannah Tomei Olson.
I'm Lisa Hale, 97.9 WGBW News. For news anytime, log on to WGBW.FM.
On your entertainment beat, I'm Pete Schwaba. Jane Austen's Sense and Sensibility is getting a makeover. Daisy Edgar Jones has just signed on to be the film's lead, Eleanor Dashwood. The role of Sister Marion Dashwood has not been announced yet. The story follows the sisters after they are forced to leave their family home in Sussex due to financial issues. Daisy Edgar Jones herself announced the news on social media. Her previous credits include Where the Crawdads Sing and last summer's Twisters, where she played the female lead opposite Glenn Powell. Most of us have a love-hate relationship with Facebook and only know the story of its beginnings from the film The Social Network. There will be a sequel on the way from Aaron Sorkin. Variety reports that Sorkin has written a screenplay as a follow-up to the 2010 film based on a series of Wall Street Journal articles called The Facebook Files. No casting has taken place yet, but Sorkin is an Oscar-winning writer, so buckle up, folks. For more showbiz fun, tune into Nightlight with me, Pete Schwaba, weeknights from 6 to 8 p.m. on the Civic Media Radio Network.
Come work with us. Civic Media has a number of great jobs across the state. Open now at civicmedia.us/careers.
I'm meteorologist Mace Michaels. Scattered showers and thunderstorms tonight. Some could be strong with areas of heavy rainfall as well. Remaining cloudy with a low in the low 60s. Slight storm chance tomorrow morning, mostly cloudy, highs 70 to 75. Heating up for the weekend. Currently, it's 66.
Matinaire on Air.
From articles that I have seen, if you are a bagel purist, you should not toast your bagel. I think nothing's better than a toasted bagel and a schmear.
Folks, can we have a moment of honesty? Do you really like bagels, or do you like the schmear that is transported by them? Get rid of the stigma. If I walk into this room eating cream cheese out of a tub with a spoon.
Why is that wrong?
Matinaire on Air. Weekday mornings 9 to 11 on your local Civic Media radio station and on the app. The Todd Albaugh Show.
Joe here in Madison on WMDX about University of Wisconsin system. The legislature looking at cutting $87 million of that.
First off, you deserve incredible kudos for bringing this issue forward.
You're too kind. Thank you.
Led the way. And you've been keeping at this question of the two-year campuses and what does the system mean throughout the time that you've been on radio. And we really appreciate it.
The Todd Albaugh Show. Weekdays 2 to 4 on your local Civic Media radio station and on the app. The Dr. Kristen Lyerly Show.
Reproductive rights isn't just for women.
Great to have you with me on this Thursday night, the Christmas Eve of weeknights. The kid Conrad Krieger riding shotgun, and this our question of the night is: it's National Handshake Day. How do you feel about the handshake? What would be a better custom? And I'm only rereading the question because we usually play the Popcorn Pick of the Week music to intro this segment that we've been doing for quite a while now. But Conrad seems to be back in Payphoneville when he called 911 with his cousin. Do we not get the Popcorn Pick? All right, hold on.
It's time for the Nightlight Popcorn Pick of the Week, where we recommend a movie that you'll either enjoy or won't. Here's your host, Pete Schwaba.
That's right, buddy. Don't think I won't throw you under the bus if I have to. I think that's the first time you've ever forgotten. It is the Popcorn Pick of the Week. Folks, it is great to have you with us because now, all right, by the end of this segment, ladies and gentlemen, you're going to have a new movie to check out. Either one you haven't seen or maybe one you've seen and forgotten about or one you've never heard of. We've run the gamut here with this segment that we do every week here on Thursday nights at 6:35. And here tonight to make the popcorn pick and just catch up in general is one of my favorite comedians. He's a Wisconsin native son, and he joins us over the stream, Mr. Tom Clark. Hey, buddy.
Hey, how you doing?
Doing very well. How are you, Tom?
Good. Now I've got an idea, I for the handshake day, but this is how to avoid handshakes.
Okay.
Immediately after you shake someone's hand, smell your hand.
I have to come clean, Tom. I told them your joke earlier. I kind of mentioned that.
Oh, you did?
Of course, I footnoted because it's one of the funniest things I've ever seen when you do that joke, and the way you smell your hand is just gorgeous. So that's a great one. Are you all right? No, I told people also that I didn't know you were a friend of Rich Tallarico's as well. You probably know him better than I do, but Rich has been on this show several times. Great guy. And we did this fantastic read through of his new script. I won't divulge any details, but it was over Zoom. And you played the lead role, and you were fantastic, buddy.
Oh, thank you so much. Yeah, I've known Rich. Here, the funny thing, I saw Rich perform at Second City like in 1999. I think Stephanie Weir was in that company at that time, and he did this. They were playing freeze tag, and he did this thing where he's sitting down, and Stephanie Weir's like this, and they say freeze, and Stephanie Weir says, "I'm a ballerina," and Rich says, "That's not going to bring your mother back." and, and that line just killed me. He's like, "I'll be upstairs polishing my gun." And
oh man, that's great.
And I told him that when I finally ran into him out here, and from that we sort of developed a friendship. And then he took my stand-up class, which is actually where that idea for the movie came from. Was again, I won't go into the details, but I asked people to stand in front of the class, and the class members say, "What do you see in this person?" So you look at somebody, you might say, "Oh, this guy looks like Biff from Back to the Future," or "This guy looks like a lumberjack," or whatever. So from that, one of the things he got was was how he got his idea for the movie.
That is incredible. So that was years ago, and the script is just finally. It's funny, and that's just what happens with writing. Sometimes you table something or you shelve it and you go back to it. But yeah, it was a very funny script. A great idea.
Yeah, no, it was a lot of fun. I was surprised to see you in there. I didn't realize. Well, you must know about your movie career as well.
He did. Well, he said that, and he said he remembered me from being a Chicago stand-up, and I kind of remember him. I think he was just starting out in improv, but he and I did some really bad pilot together.
Oh, really?
And that's where I remembered him from, and I don't even know if he remembered me from that, but he was just a really nice guy, and I'm happy to be his friend, and he's a great guest when he's on the show. A really talented guy. All right, so let's talk movies and TV snacks, Tom, before we get into some other things you have going on. How do you typically like to watch movies? What's your approach? Theater, home?
I mean, now it's all home. I don't think I've been to a movie theater in 5 years or 6 years.
Pre-COVID.
Wow. Yeah, I just don't go at all. I did go to see what the heck movie was it? The Deadpool 2. We were in Vegas and we went to a movie. This guy wanted to see Deadpool 2, and it was fine. I don't know. It's such a. I mean, the big seats, and I miss like the sticky floors and the, right. The popcorn everywhere. Like I'm not used to like a comfortable seat. Go back to the old way.
Seats are a little too comfortable now, I think.
Recline
and everything. That was fun though. I remember working the road and going to movies with comics during the day, and I miss that. That was kind of a fun routine,
Yeah, everything's on your computer. Everything you can just watch, and I remember this was like probably 1981 or two. I was friends with this. There was like one black family in my neighborhood, and we were friends, and they took me downtown on a Saturday night, and we saw Skate Town USA at an all black movie theater. And it was the most culturally awakening experience of my life, because just hearing people yell at the screen and just the interaction with the movie itself, it was the most entertaining movie I've ever watched. You go to walk a show and watch a movie, it's so like bland, but there it was like it was so active. Like I felt involved with the movie, and like people are narrating stuff. It was the funniest experience of my life.
That's great.
I miss that.
Yeah, totally. What is your kind of like, what genre do you like to watch, Tom? Do you have a favorite or a typical genre that you watch in the Clark household?
Usually comedy, usually somewhat poignant genre.
Sure.
I mean, sort of, we like we like funny, but we also like something that has a little dramatic flair to it. I'm trying to remember what we watched recently. We watched this movie Thelma about this 90-year-old woman who goes on a quest to get a scammer, get her money back from a scammer. I thought
Richard
the idea,
Roundtree.
yeah, Richard Roundtree. That's right. It was good. It was a little slow paced, but I did enjoy. I enjoy a movie with like a good concept, like especially like a character that doesn't get used a lot, of like an elderly woman and man going out on a quest to kind of be. The idea was like they're doing their Tom Cruise Mission Impossible to get their money back, and they're going around in like a motorized cart, and I enjoyed it, but it was it's always hard to execute in the execution of it.
Totally. I have to be honest. I loved that concept. When I read that, I was like, I cannot wait to see this. It got like 95% on Rotten Tomatoes.
Right.
And I went and I was bored to tears. I was like,
Yeah.
this is a real clunker. And I don't know if like they were thinking, oh, this is so cute. This 90-year-old woman is trying to get her like that. Yeah, that's great. But it's kind of slow, right? I don't know.
Super slow in the editing. And like, I get the idea of like, they move slow, but it was just, like you said, it was just like such a great log line, but just died on the screen.
And something we've all wanted to do as well is when we get scammed or go after scammers. But what is your snack of choice, Tom? When you watch a movie at home, whether you're alone or with Steph or whatever, what's your snack?
I mean, it's popcorn. It's the standard. We're not. I can't. I know some people like to put chocolate in the popcorn or do like Reese's peanut butter cups. I can't do it anymore. I'm just gonna get way too heavy. So we do. I do popcorn. We cook it in we just cook it in the pot and just do it old school style. Little olive oil on it and
love it.
I
love
simple.
it. Tom Clark is my guest. He is a very funny stand-up comedian and actor, and a Wisconsin native son. He came from Milwaukee and started his comedy career there. He's joining us tonight to make the popcorn pick of the week. I'm with you too about the popcorn, and I don't mind buying like gourmet popcorn if it's already in the bag and already made. If people really know what they're doing. Do you have and the nice thing is, Tom, and maybe you can go back to your movie-going days when you did go to the theater. Did you ever sneak booze into the theater?
I did not. I went on a date one time, and this was not Steph. This was pre-Steph, and she decided to buy. She's like, "Oh, I want to buy, Southern Comfort or something, and have it in the theater." She comes in, and it's a handle of Southern Comfort, and we're sitting in the theater. I don't even remember what movie it was. I think it was Role Models. And I just hear, she gets a big, large Coke. I just hear like 3/4 of it poured on the floor of the theater. Not even like subtle, go to the bathroom. And then I just hear clunk, 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 clunk into the soda glass. I'm like, oh my, this is like our second date.
Oh and my gosh.
And that's not even the worst one. The second worst one was went to see Good Will Hunting at the Oriental Theater. The girl fell asleep halfway through the movie, and I was so tempted. Comfort? What's not even a comfortable seat? It's the Oriental Theater. It's like gum on the floor. She just dozed off. I'm like, this is not good. And
did you just sneak away then, or what?
I was so tempted to just leave the theater and just let her wake up. How do you like them apples?
I was saying, was that did she pass out after drinking half a bottle of Southern Comfort? Like you probably could have seen that coming.
Yeah, these are two separate dates. One was the Southern Comfort lady who managed to stay awake, and the other was the girl who just fell asleep midway through the movie. So
that is funny.
Yeah, that was I don't think it's ever worked out with going with a girl to a movie theater. I went with Steph to see, I was in a movie called Freaks of Nature, and it was with Dennis Leary, and I had a big scene in the movie, and then Steph, like this was when there was like the shooting at the movie theaters, and she just panicked. She couldn't sit in the theater. So I couldn't even watch the rest of the movie because she had sort of a panic attack with that. So it's just me and girls at movie theaters. Just doesn't seem to work out at all.
Just go to a play next time. Or something. Go to a museum, Tom.
Yeah.
What kind of cocktail do you like when you watch a movie at home? Do you have a good old Wisconsin old fashioned or just a beer? What do you do?
I wish I had a good answer. It's literally like water. It's like nothing. It's not so not like oh my God, I've cleaned up my act a lot.
It sounds like you were affected by that Southern Comfort girl. Like you thought, I got
Maybe.
to fly right, it's scared straight, something like that.
Yeah, I can't. There's nothing really. So maybe once in a while, root beer float. I'll do a root beer float.
There you go.
If they're getting fancy, but if I'm a good boy.
Yeah, I mistook you for someone who liked to party, Tom. I didn't know you were.
It's the glasses.
Wisconsin.
Yeah.
I thought maybe I set you up there for a cocktail, but all right. Tom Clark is here, folks. The very funny Tom Clark. We're going to do a very short break. We're going to come back and get his popcorn pick of the week. Great to have you with me on this Thursday night. It's Night Light with Pete Schwaba on the Civic Media Radio Network.
Download the Civic Media app in the Google Play or Apple App Store and take us everywhere. This is the Civic Media Radio Network.
Escape to paradise this summer at Chula Vista Resort in Wisconsin Dells. Spacious accommodations, perfect for families or romantic getaways. Voted top 10 best water parks in the U.S., championship golf, the longest zip line in the area, and the #1 steakhouse in Wisconsin. Book a Chula Vista Resort all-inclusive package now at 1-800-388-4782 or visit chulavistaresort.com. Your summer paradise awaits.
Streaming TV is where it's at. It's not about cutting the cord anymore. It's all about your customized TV options. With the best and cheapest high-speed internet and your own TV subscriptions, we've got your dream TV lineup. Between wired and satellite internet and TV, save money and get more internet speed and better TV today by calling the Whole Home Connect.
800-217-9129. 800-217-9129. 800-217-9129.
Why are interscholastic sports called the last classroom of the day? Because they teach students important life lessons like teamwork, accountability, and perseverance. School sports are so much more than a game. They're about developing the whole person. That's why they're an essential part of every student's education.
Encourage your student to participate in the last classroom of the day. Interscholastic sports in Wisconsin. This message presented by the WIAA and the Wisconsin Athletic Directors Association.
The possibility of lung cancer can be pretty scary, especially if you're one of approximately 8 million current or former smokers at high risk. That's why SaveByTheScan.org wants you to know that now there's a breakthrough low-dose CT scan that can detect lung cancer early, and it only takes 60 seconds. You stop smoking, now start screening. For an easy quiz to see if you're eligible, visit SaveByTheScan.org. It could save your life. SaveByTheScan.org is brought to you by the American Lung Association's Lung Force Initiative and the Ad Council.
Mino and the Mayor.
Show them the picture he showed me today in the striped little short shorts.
No, it was the
They
belly.
would be banned
I
now.
know. No, Sean.
Too much skin.
Hubba, hubba, hubba.
Man, dig that crazy chick.
Oh, and short shorts.
We wear short shorts.
Oh, that's funny. Wow.
Mino and the Mayor, weekday mornings 6 till 9. The Todd Albaugh Show.
The Joint Finance Committee was leaked that they intend to cut $87 million from the UW system budget. And so we put this out on our socials last night, and today the Joint Finance Committee decided to pull that from the agenda. Because apparently, from what I'm told, Republican legislators got a lot of calls. When the truth is disseminated and people react, results can happen.
The Todd Albaugh Show, weekdays 2 to 4 on your local civic media radio station.
Civic Media Radio Network and Nightlight with Pete Schwaba. I am Pete Schwaba, and we are talking popcorn pick of the week here with our guest, Wisconsin native son, Milwaukee native son, the very funny Tom Clark has joined us over the stream. We're just about to get his popcorn pick of the week. Tom, have you ever cried during a movie? What makes you cry? You're kind of a big, burly, macho guy. What's that? What makes the rain come?
Oh my God! Anything. They totally.
Really?
Yeah. They. If you're good at pulling at the heartstrings, I will let out an audible sob during the movie. I think I was with Steph, and I can't. I wish I could remember the movie offhand, but I was just like. And she just
Did she like seeing your sensitive side? Was that a good moment?
Oh yeah,
in the relationship?
She appreciated that. She dated a lot of D-bags, so so she was, I think, surprised that I was audibly sobbing.
All right, and what about like when you were like I said, you're a big guy. You played football at St. Norbert's, as I understand it.
That's right.
And I don't think I would mess with you, certainly, mostly because I just think you're a nice guy. But that aside, like, have you ever been in a theater and people are talking? Have you ever shushed anybody or given them a look or threatened them?
No, this is kind of unrelated, but we were watching the movie Shallow Hal, which is the Jack Black movie where he, he's dating Gwyneth Paltrow, who's really heavy, but he's only able to see their inner beauty. And we're about 3/4 of the way through the movie, and this guy in front of me whispers to his wife, he's like, "Oh, he only sees their inner beauty." I was like, how are you just getting that? Like, we're way past you realizing. Like, it was the funniest thing. I laughed out loud. Steph and I laughed out loud when we heard that guy say that.
I think I've told this before on the show, but I went to, I don't know if you remember, good Milwaukee comic, Mick Lazinski. I don't know if you ever met Mick.
Oh, yeah.
But yeah, he and I were working Indianapolis together. We went to see Pulp Fiction during the day. It was like a 1:00 showing. And I think it was just the two of us and then these two other guys in the theater. And it was the scene where Travolta, you thought he had died. And then all of a sudden he's alive again. It's, non-linear. They're just telling the story and jumping around. And this guy could not wrap his head around that. So we're like 10 feet. We just hear the guy go, "What? Wait a minute. What's going on here?" Out loud, Tom. I'm like, are you kidding me? Like, you think it's like an editing gaffe or something? Like, trust me, I think they know what they're doing. Have a little faith, buddy. All right, I think it's time to get our popcorn pick of the week from our pal Tom Clark. Conrad, if you please. It's the Nightlight Popcorn Pick of the Week by Tom Clark. Tom, what can you recommend?
I'm going to recommend 1984 Repo Man. From, 1980 with Emilio Estevez.
Yeah.
I believe in one of his first roles.
Yeah. Wow. Nice pick. Have you seen that? Like, I've seen it once and I thought it was really cool. I probably saw it in the 80s and I have not seen it since. Have you seen it recently and does it hold up?
Here's a funny thing. They would broadcast. There was one point on Channel 18 in Milwaukee where they would broadcast R-rated movies, uncut, unedited, and we did not have cable in our house. We didn't have HBO. We didn't have Select TV or any of that stuff. So so you could hear swearing, and Repo Man has so much swearing in it.
Yeah.
And I was blown away by it. And I just thought it was so cool because I wasn't really, I was kind of raised pretty Catholic, so I wasn't really going to a lot of R-rated movies. So I recorded it off the TV, and I probably watched it like, 15 or 20 times. It has like this punk rock soundtrack and just so many great lines. Harry Dean Stanton's in it. And it's just such a bizarre movie. I just love it. It sort of makes fun of Scientology and sort of the end of the world. And it sort of reminds me of being a comic, because it's sort of these low level repo men and their life sort of repoing cars. And there's a line in there. It's like, you know what I hate? Ordinary people. They avoid intense situations. A repo man gets into intense situations. Like, I was like, that's like a comedian. That's the same thing. So love that movie.
Great choice. 98% on the tomato meter.
Oh my gosh.
Tomatoes. Yeah. And it's a brief synopsis, because I needed to hear this too. I knew he was repoed cars, but after being fired from his job, Los Angeles slacker and punk rocker Otto, Emilio Estevez, lands a gig working for an eccentric repossession agent named Bud, Harry Dean Stanton. This makes me, I had forgotten about this movie, and now I want to see it again, because I would love to see if it holds up. That's fantastic. Great choice, my friend.
And all the repo guys, they all have beer names. There's a guy named Bud, a guy named Miller, a guy named Oli, but that's Olympia beer, back when that was a beer in the 80s. So that's a fun thing to watch for.
That's a great thing too. I remember when we would, and when you first get a VCR, you just want to tape everything you see on TV because you think you're going to watch it. But like, rarely do you actually record something that's great and watch it over and over like this film. Let's see, Tracy Walter, Harry Dean Stanton. Boy, not a lot of big stars in this though.
No, Tracy Walter's amazing too. If you've never seen, he's just he's like a buddy of Jack Nicholson, and he's just this bizarre character in the movie, and just a bizarre person.
That's so
in
funny.
Real life. Yeah.
Tom, we're going to do the news, and I'd like to come back and play something you sent me over text, one of your first acting gigs, as I understand it. And we'll talk a little bit about what you have going on. If you can spend a few more minutes with us, and we'll get you out here at a reasonable hour.
For sure. I'll be...
Tom Clark is here, folks, the very funny comedian who hails from Milwaukee, Wisconsin, making his home in L.A. now. It's always fun to have Tom on the show. We'll come back, and I'm going to play a commercial Tom did when he was much younger, but still just as good looking. That's coming up next. And then we're talking independent film with Grace Painter Kozel at 7:20. She is the founder of Ruby Red Films. Fun night here. Great to have you with me. It's Pete Schwaba and Nite Lite on the Civic Media Radio Network.
0.9 WGBW Denmark, Green Bay's real news and great conversation, a Civic Media radio station.
ABC News, I'm Dave Packard. President Trump holding an event today at the White House, inviting Capitol Hill lawmakers working to whip the votes for a signature budget bill, the so-called One Big Beautiful Bill Act.
But we'll deliver a record tax cut, a record spending cut, a record investment in border security. We've done so well on the border.
President Trump's self-imposed deadline, July 4th, but there are hurdles. The Senate parliamentarian rejected key Medicaid provisions in the bill, as well as a long list of other provisions that would help pay for it. Today, Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth defended the strikes on Iran's nuclear sites and slammed some media coverage that claimed the strikes had limited impact. The CDC vaccine panel now recommending against certain flu vaccines that include a certain preservative. That coming on day 2 of the first meeting of the new Vaccine Advisory Committee appointed by HHS Secretary Robert F. Kennedy, Jr. This is ABC News.
Join the family. Civic Media has a number of great jobs across the state open now at civicmedia.us/careers.
For 97.9 WGBW News, I'm Lisa Hale. The debate over conversion therapy took over the Green Bay Common Council this week. The council was considering asking staff to draft a non-binding resolution that would simply express Green Bay's opposition to the practice of conversion therapy. Community members spoke against a resolution, claiming it would violate their First Amendment rights to freedom of speech and religion. Alder Alyssa Prophet is one who put forward the resolution. She said,
"There will be no police officers walking into any church in this municipality to put tickets out there. There will be no fines. This is a resolution to make our neighbors feel loved, and I think it's an important move that we take."
The council voted 8-4 to return the resolution to its original authors to draft it, after which the Protection and Policy Committee will decide whether to bring it back before the Common Council. State Republicans have been working to pass legislation without funding attached over recent weeks in an effort to circumvent the partial veto power of Governor Tony Evers. State Senate Majority Leader Devin LeMahieu claims the Republican majority plans to fund the bills, like the one creating a school safety grant program, through the budget process to avoid the veto pen. State Democrats attempted to introduce amendments to fund the bills now, saying that there have been previous unfunded bills passed into law that still haven't received funding from the Joint Finance Committee. Authorities are looking for a missing man from Winneconne. A welfare check for Mitchell Reef was conducted in Winnebago County Sunday. He was then listed as missing and endangered. On Wednesday, Lincoln County officials located his car in the town of Somo. Reef is white, 5'8", 250 pounds, with brown hair and blue eyes. I'm Lisa Hale, 97.9 WGBW News. For news anytime, log on to WGBW.FM.
The Miz wins again. Hi, I'm Mike Clemens with sports. Baseball, the Brewers' new 23-year-old pitcher, Jacob Mizorowski, came through again. After walking the first batter he faced, the Miz went to work, throwing fastballs over 100 miles per hour, striking out 5 scoreless innings, as the Brewers won 4-2 over the Pirates. Mizorowski on playing before nearly 43,000 fans, the biggest crowd so far this season in Milwaukee.
I think the nerves are still there, but, you had all the guys in the clubhouse being like, okay, let's go. You got this. Keep doing what you're doing, and it's huge. Plus the guys putting up 4 runs is electric, so yeah, it's awesome.
Manager Pat Murphy.
It wasn't perfect. He used the curveball a couple key times, that came into play, but I thought his command was pretty darn good.
Basketball, the NBA draft continues. Con Knippel from Milwaukee's Wisconsin Lutheran High, taken by the Hornets with the 4th overall pick last night, the highest ever for a player from Wisconsin. The Bucks have the 47th pick tonight in the second round. With sports, I'm Mike Clemens.
Rebuilding and refreshing local radio one station at a time. This Civic Media radio station is proud to be a part of your community. Learn more at civicmedia.us.
I'm meteorologist Mace Michaels. Scattered showers and thunderstorms tonight. Some could be strong with areas of heavy rainfall as well. Remaining cloudy with a low in the low 60s. Slight storm chance tomorrow morning, mostly cloudy, highs 70 to 75. Heating up for the weekend. Currently at 64 degrees.
Maggie Dawn.
Well, I'm in a tent in Governor Dodge State Park. Jim Santel takes over the hosting duties. Don't miss it as he breaks down the recent Supreme Court rulings and Wisconsin Supreme Court rulings.
The Maggie Dawn Show, weekdays 4 till 6. The Todd Albaugh Show.
Joe here in Madison on WMDX about University of Wisconsin system. The legislature looking at cutting $87 million of that.
First off, you deserve incredible kudos for bringing this issue forward.
You're too kind. Thank you.
Led the way. And you've been keeping at this question of the two-year campuses and what does the system mean throughout the time that you've been on radio. And we really appreciate it.
The Todd Albaugh Show, weekdays 2 to 4 on your local Civic Media radio station and on the app. The Maggie Dawn Show.
Indy Dattagupta, he is with the Center for Law and Social Policy.
The Trump administration's agenda is reducing economic growth. The programs that they're proposing cutting, like Medicaid and SNAP, especially for kids, actually more than pay for themselves. So we are really looking at a tough long-term economic outlook entirely.
Broadcasting live statewide from the Civic Media Studios in Green Bay. This is Nightlight with Pete Schwaba, your inside source on everything entertainment from Wisconsin to Hollywood.
Whatever gets you through the night, it's all right, it's all right.
And now, a guy who hates shaking hands, Pete Schwaba.
Welcome back. I don't know if I hate shaking hands. I just find it strange. I don't know how. Well, I do know how it started now. It's to prove you didn't have a weapon on you. But I feel like we carry less weaponry on our person than we used to. I think it's outdated. Mostly I'm just kind of having fun with it. But that is our question of the night, folks. It's National Handshake Day. How do you feel about the handshake? What would be a better custom? We spoke in the first hour with Tom Clark, who is still here for a few more minutes. He gave us the popcorn pick of the week. This week's pick is Repo Man, an outstanding choice, and definitely due for a revisit in the Schwaba household. Grace Painter Cazell will be here at 7:20. She is an up-and-coming filmmaker in Milwaukee and the founder of Ruby Red Films, and a very talented actress, as I understand it. So we'll talk to Grace at 7:20. Right now we have a few more minutes with my pal Tom Clark, who joins us over the stream from, are you in L.A., Tom?
Yes. Yeah. About 20 minutes outside.
Okay. Yeah.
I can't reveal my location.
That's our second secret tonight. We can't talk about Rich Tallarico's funny new script, and we can't say where you're joining us from because you are a target. It's funny you say that. When I moved to Marinette when I was in junior high, people there, it's a shipbuilding town, and they build ships at Marinette Marine, and now it's called Fincantieri. But people were so proud of the fact, and maybe it's because I moved there from Chicago, and it's like that weird thing where you feel like you have to kind of one-up somebody. But people would say, you know, we build ships here, and if there's ever a war, we're like the 8th place that will be attacked. Like, we're the 8th most desired attack city. And I'm like, well, that's a terrible thing. Like, that doesn't really make me proud. I'm just kind of scared to be here now. But very funny.
Yeah.
Great pick with Repo Man. What do you have coming up, Tom? What do you have? Do you have dates? I know you come back to Wisconsin a couple times a year to do stand-up.
Yeah, in early December, I'm going to be back in Wisconsin. I'm going to be in Kenosha, I believe, December. It's first week of December. And then Saturday, I'm doing another show in Kewaskum, just outside of West Bend. So yeah, those are the two big shows. And otherwise toured around. I've just mainly bounced between Arizona and California, doing a lot of shows in there.
Nice.
Going to Arizona tomorrow for a show in Munns Park, Arizona. So all your listeners in Munns Park, Arizona.
We do get the occasional text from someone where I'm like, where's that area code? Like,
I never heard of it. Munns Park. It's near Sedona.
Okay. We have Conrad's eyes perked up because he was born and raised. He's a Kewaskum kid.
I am.
So
Okay.
That's exciting. So you
Yeah.
gotta tell your family.
Yes.
Yeah, they're in Florida now, but
yeah. Okay.
Tell them to come.
Fair
Jerry Walski is the one who's booking that gig. I think you know Jerry. Do you know Jerry?
Walski, Conrad?
Yeah,
I
out of
don't.
Chicago.
Do you know what where you're working at there?
I do not. I can find out, but
I'm trying to figure out where.
Is there a funny bone in Kewaskum or?
I think there might be a Zanies though.
Catch a Rising Star, yeah.
Yeah, I'm trying to see. I know.
Well, when you come back, Tom, we'll have to, especially before the Kenosha date. I know I've heard really good stuff about that room down there in southeast Wisconsin. It's supposed to be very funny. Let me ask you this: you're a big Packer fan, Tom. Have you found Packer bars in Southern California? Do you have a Packer bar you go to watch the games?
Yeah, there was one in Woodland Hills that we would go to, but I believe it shut down. But I haven't found anything out here since then, and but usually I just go anywhere there's an NFL package. You know, my he's 99, so for me it's like trying to find a place that's quiet and that he's not going to get trampled or something so he's so usually I just try to find a nice place that has the NFL package and then hang out and have lunch.
Nice.
But yeah, I'm excited. I did a gig at a church in Beverly Hills, and I ended up winning the raffle, and I won 2 Rams tickets to any game I want to go to. So I'm excited about that because I haven't been to SoFi Stadium yet.
Boy,
so.
Yeah, I only have watched games from there, and that announcer, it sounds like the Hunger Games, that kind of house announcer. He's like, it's fourth down. That guy's always talking, and I'm like, shut that guy up. But
Yeah,
I'm sure it looks spectacular.
Yeah, it's a beautiful stadium, and yeah, I'm very excited. And it was very awkward because I just finished like headlining, and then they like immediately did the raffle, and I'm like setting up my merch table, and then they're like, and I'm like looking, and I'm like, do I say something? And I'm like, I want to go to the Rams game. I don't care that I won this. And a lot of old people, they didn't care. They're not going to go.
They're just walking past you going, well, you really cleaned up here today, didn't you, buddy?
Want to buy a shirt? Come on, let's go.
We have you sent this to me. This is a commercial. Set this commercial up, please. It's only like 30 seconds long, but I'd love to play it.
Yeah, and in 2003, there was a sort of like cattle call for an audition for movietickets.com. It was the old sites like Fandango, where you'd order your tickets online. I never understood the point of it, and I was the spokesperson for it. But yeah, I was just lucky enough to be cast. I was there for like 6 hours. The people before me were all clowns, and literally clowns. People dressed as clowns, and it was like people left the audition because it was like we were like in the waiting room like 4 or 5 hours, and I had nowhere to be. So it just so happened that me and these two other guys were the last 3 left. We went into the room, and we just hit it up. We just killed it in the audition, and then they wanted to do a callback, and I was out of town, and they tried the 2 guys with another guy, and it didn't work out. So they're like, we want you. And next thing you know, it was playing in every movie theater across the country on TV. I had a bunch of billboards in LA where this was up on the billboard. Like, it was crazy. I mean, that's
so fun.
Yeah. So this was pretty amazing.
All right. So it's Tom Clark, our current guest, and 2 other guys. And
one other thing I want to mention is,
sure.
during the night before, I ended up having a burrito, and I had severe stomach flu. So as I'm doing this, if you want to know what the thought process of an actor is, my thought process during this is I have to go to the bathroom. So enjoy.
All right, go ahead, Conrad.
C comes before K.
Double K.
It's a C, then a K. It's a silent C.
I'm lost. E? What letter?
T.
No one said college would be easy. Easy like going to the movies.
Because we use movietickets.com.
We just buy our tickets online. They pick them up at the theater.
I don't get why everyone doesn't use movietickets.com.
You don't?
Convenient, secure, easy. Movietickets.com, your own personal box office.
No R.
No, there's no R in tickets.
It's the silent R.
That must have been a kick, seeing that before every movie, like and your
it
friends
was
calling you and stuff.
Yeah, it was the silent R. The beginning and the end were all improvised. So me saying it's a silent R ended up being like a hit. Like, always got a laugh in the theaters. And I had a buddy who was friends with Derek Jeter, and he went to the games went to the movies with Derek Jeter, and he calls me up. This is Brody Stevens, who is a legend comedian, and he goes, Tom Clark just went to a movie with Derek Jeter. He saw your commercial. He laughed out loud. Derek Jeter thinks you're funny. And I was like, oh my God, that was so funny. But yeah, that was amazing. And we ended up doing a second commercial because they thought these are our spokes guys. And second one didn't hit. And that was it for us. But it was cool while it lasted.
That is cool. I remember Brody Stevens used to hang out at the Starbucks right down the street from my house at Riverside and Laurel Canyon.
Oh yeah.
And I didn't know him well, but he was part of a comic softball weekly game I used to go to, and he was so funny. He would just sit out in the outfield and yell, "Let's go to work!" He would just say that over and over. And I know he was on the Best Damn Sports Show a few times on Fox. He was a really good guy.
That would be another special I'd recommend, or another movie choice is Brody has a special on Amazon, I think Live at the Comedy Store, and it's a great representation of like what it's like to go up at the end of the night at the Comedy Store when everyone's drunk and people are leaving, and he decided to shoot his special, and just the guts on that guy to do to do that, and it's really funny, and you'll definitely become a fan of him and just his boldness.
Now I want people to become a fan of, I think everybody listening is already a fan of you, but just in case, you do such great crowd work, Tom, and you're always posting videos on your social media accounts. Where can people follow you, and how do you recommend they follow you to see some of these clips you post?
I'm on Instagram and TikTok, Tom Clark Comedy, on both of those. That's the best way to see those. I mean, you can follow me on Facebook as well, but Instagram and TikTok are kind of the ones I want to grow a little bit more. But yeah, I try to do at least one or two a week, and there's always something silly or ridiculous that happens during a show that you'll enjoy.
I love that you're so self-deprecating too. You posted something recently where you totally wiped out going up to the stage, like you did a header.
Oh, yeah.
I think that was hilarious.
Yeah.
But I actually thought maybe you got hurt.
Yeah, I was walking on the stage, and the guy introduced me. He said the wrong name. He says, "Ladies and gentlemen, Travis Clark." And as I'm walking up, I'm going to shake his hand. I'm like, "No, it's Tom." And I just, butt over tea kettle, just fall on my face. I'm down for like 30 seconds. I get up. You can see it on my Instagram. But it's funny. Then 2 weeks ago, I'm working in Arizona. This same guy who's lost like 30 pounds, has longer hair, doesn't look anything like, but this guy was there. I didn't realize it was him until during the show, we had talked about one of his jokes, and I tried to give him a tag for it. Didn't work. He's like, "Thanks a lot, Travis." I'm like, "How do you still not know my name? Like it's you're still calling me Travis." Like people said my name's Tom. Like he just insists my name is Travis. I don't
Probably
know.
for the best.
Yeah.
I mean, my God, that's funny. I highly recommend too, folks. Google Tom's stuff. He's been on Conan. I think you had your own dry bar special. We played a great joke. Your Civil War reenactment joke is great, and then how your parents were homophobes. Oh no, wait, they were homophobes.
Oh yeah,
that is one of the best jokes I've ever heard. And we played that clip earlier, but there's tons of clips of Tom all over the internet. I highly recommend check it out, folks. And we'll have you back on before you are back in the state and try to get some butts in the seats in those Kenosha and Kewaskum shows. That would be fun.
Yeah, and I'll figure out where those are. So,
all right, buddy. Hey, thanks for joining us tonight. Great popcorn pick of the week, and say hi to Steph, and we'll talk soon. I hope.
All right, thanks, Pete. Thanks, Conrad.
You got it. Tom Clark, ladies and gentlemen. Check him out. Follow him on Instagram or TikTok, and we'll keep you posted when he's coming back to Wisconsin. Very funny stand-up comedian. In just a couple minutes, folks, we will be back with our next guest. Grace Painter Kozel will be here. She is an up-and-coming filmmaker and the founder of Ruby Red Films, based out of Milwaukee. That's all coming up after a very short break, and we'll read some of your texts, too. It's Pete Schwaba and Nightlight on the Civic Media Radio Network.
So you're tired, just wanna close your eyes, follow your pretty guy. We made a promise, we swore we'd always remember. No retreat, baby, no surrender. Our soldiers on a winter's night.
You're listening to the Talk of Green Bay, WGBW, home of Mino and the Mayor.
Appleton Cigar Company on College Avenue has been serving the community for over 25 years. If you are a cigar aficionado looking for a one-of-a-kind experience, you need to check out Appleton Cigar, which boasts the largest selection of cigars north of Milwaukee with over 706 cigars to choose from in a walk-in humidor. The Cigar Lounge offers an impressive variety of spirits and cocktails that pair perfectly with a premium cigar. For the full experience, come to Appleton Cigar at 415 College Ave, Monday through Saturday, 11:30 a.m. to 10:30 p.m. For more information, go to appletoncigar.com.
Are you living with dry AMD? If so, you could be on the road to geographic atrophy, or GA, a condition that leads to retinal cell death and permanent vision loss. But with Izervay, you can
slow it down and get it going slower.
Izervay slows GA progression by targeting a key source of retinal cell death, which may help preserve your vision longer. Izervay, or Avastin Capted Pagel, is a prescription eye injection used to treat GA. Don't take it if you have an infection or active swelling in or around your eye. Izervay can cause eye infection, retinal detachment, or increased risk of wet AMD. Izervay may temporarily increase eye pressure. Your vision may be impaired after an eye injection or exam. Don't delay. Ask your doctor about Izervay today.
Izervay gets GA going slower.
Visit Izervay.com. That's IZERVAY.com. Paid for by Astellas Pharma.
You've been waiting, and now it's time for Turn It Up Rock Camp's 2025 Showcase. It's Amanda with another new Wisco 411 for you, brought to you by Area 509 in Appleton. And you can head to Harper Hall in Appleton on Friday at 6 p.m. and hear what the Turn It Up Rock campers have been working on for an entire week, preparing for the showcase, like writing an original song, developing their band sound, and learning the tech side of performances. A $10 donation is suggested for entry, but if you don't have it, you won't be turned away. Head to WGBW.FM and click events to find out more.
We are the National Park Foundation, and together with you, we're creating a future where every person, every generation, gets their chance at an unforgettable moment. Learn more at nationalparks.org/foundation.
You want me, I want you, baby. My sugar boo, I'm levitating. The Milky Way, we're renegading. Yeah, 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 yeah. I got you, moonlight, you're my starlight.
This is a Thursday night edition of Nightlight with Pete Schwaba. I am Pete Schwaba, your dedicated host. Conrad Krieger riding shotgun, working the board. Bud, we missed every once in a while. Bud from Janesville texts us, and he is out working hard from 4 a.m. to 6 a.m. delivering papers. Bud is a retired school teacher. That's right, Conrad?
Maybe.
Okay. He's doing the whole Tom Clark secretive thing. Bud last night, or this morning, I should say, at 5:21 a.m. texted, "I'm about to have an accident." He said, "I laughed so hard, I was glad I was wearing black shorts. Love your show, Pete." Bud from Janesville. I vaguely remember saying that, but what were we talking about at that time?
That's a good question.
I'll have to go back and listen. Thank you, Bud. Bud also sent another text a few minutes later, said, "Pete Schwaba, a man who entertains you when you least expect it." Keep it up, Pete. Love your show, Bud from Janesville. Thank you, Bud. Be careful out there. You can get in a lot of trouble from 4 to 6 a.m. There's a lot going on. What is?
Well, we got a new Facebook comment.
Facebook comment? Where's that?
Yeah.
What do you think? I have every social media thing open here?
I sent it to you.
You sent it to me?
In
the chat. Oh,
Yes.
That's what that means. Okay. Now I got to put my glasses on again. What is this? Is this from your mom? Oh, no. Monica Hale says, "I don't like people's cooties and have grown fond of the fist bump, then opening my hand as if there was an explosion." Not sure if there is a name for that. Oh, man. That's our question of the night, folks. It's National Handshake Day. How do you feel about the handshake? And what would be a better custom? That's the question we're asking. Thank you for the text, Monica. We'll catch up on the text line. We've got several to read and the stream as well. Right now, though, without further ado, I'd like to get to our next guest of the night. She is an up-and-coming independent filmmaker and the founder of Ruby Red Films, based out of Milwaukee, Grace Kozel. Grace, hi.
Hi, thanks for having me.
So did I say the last name right?
No, but
Okay.
I'm not going to blame you because even when I give people the phonetic spelling of it, they still don't get it right. It's Koziel. It's Polish.
Oh, doggone it. I saw that you had the O, or no, the Z different. All right. I'm not even smart enough to understand phonetics, even though I asked you for a phonetic, and I was an English major, so go figure. So Koziel.
Yes, it's totally okay. They got it wrong at my college graduation, so.
Oh, that's horrible. Did you go to Marquette?
I did go to Marquette. I just graduated in May.
Wow, congratulations.
Thank you.
So, all right, so let's ease into this. Tell us a little bit about, you just graduated from Marquette. I love that you reached out, and it's great that we were able to figure this out. Tell us a little bit about you for like all the listeners that don't know your work and don't know Grace.
So I'm a recent Marquette grad. I studied digital media, which is Marquette's essentially film program, but it's all encompassing. It covers photography, videography, video editing, lighting, things like that. And I very quickly took a liking to directing and writing. It's kind of been a long time coming. I grew up an actor. I was super into musical theater, was always making movies with my brothers. And so it actually kind of felt like a natural kind of progression into filmmaking. And I basically in 2023 was like, I want to make a movie, but I know that it's a full length movie and that no one is going to believe, a 19-year-old that, you should give me money to make this movie. And it's a period piece. So I have to prove that I actually have the skill set for this. So I decided I was going to make a proof of concept film. And that was back in 2023, and it's called Bad for Me. And it is a period piece that begins in 1958. And it's basically about a couple that meets in high school, they're high school sweethearts, and it transforms into a toxic relationship in the sense of there's verbal abuse, physical abuse, and it's about that era of housewives and mothers who really had no means to get out of the situations that they were in. And really lacked status in society, and how many of those women existed that we've forgotten their stories. And so we made that proof of concept, and it went really well, and we went viral on social media. And we had legitimately an international following of women telling us, this is exactly how I feel. This is how I feel about my grandparents. This is what I see in my mom and my dad's relationship. And it was very empowering, but it was also very sad at the same time that a period piece could be still so applicable to modern day. Yeah. And from there, we were like, we need to make the feature. And so we've been making the feature since. And in the midst of that, I'm also working on shorts. So the short that I'm working on right now is a 1980s psychological thriller. And yeah, we also went viral on TikTok too, because we were doing an international and nationwide casting call, and that got actors excited, especially young women, because it's a cast of 5 young women. So yeah, so the social media thing has been a really big part of my career. Yeah. It's kind of what I'm seeing for lots of, like, a new generation of young filmmakers are utilizing this social media to break into the industry in ways that we haven't seen before. It's kind of like you have to be resourceful in this industry. Oh, yeah. And so that's my story. Yeah.
That's great. My guest is Grace Koziel. Did I say it right? Koziel.
He's so close.
Okay. By the time you leave, I'll have it down pat. She is joining us from Milwaukee tonight over the stream, and she is an independent filmmaker and a recent Marquette grad. Grace, how do you feel about handshaking?
Similar to what someone said, I'm all for the fist bump.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't want a sweaty hand. I don't want a handful of germs. You never know if someone's washing their hands. Fist bumps all the way.
I like you already. Okay, Grace Koziel is here. We're going to talk more about her project after the news, and she's going to tell us about Ruby Red Films. And Grace, I have to ask you too, I kind of missed the boat on social media. I want to know, how the heck do you get something to go viral? We'll talk about all of that when we come back after the news with our guest, filmmaker Grace Koziel. Pete Schwaba and Nightlight on the Civic Media Radio Network.
And she's taking a drag, now they're going to bed, and my stomach is sick, and it's all in my head, but she's touching his chest now. He takes off her dress, now let me
go. 97.9 WGBW and WGBW.FM. As Wisconsin is saying the word bag instead of bag. This is the Civic Media Radio Network.
ABC News, I'm Dave Packer. President Trump holding an event today at the White House, inviting Capitol Hill lawmakers working to whip the votes for a signature budget bill, the so-called One Big Beautiful Bill Act.
But we'll deliver a record tax cut, a record spending cut, a record investment in border security. We've done so well on the border.
President Trump's self-imposed deadline, July 4th, but there are hurdles. The Senate parliamentarian rejected key Medicaid provisions in the bill, as well as a long list of other provisions that would help pay for it. Today, Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth defended the strikes on Iran's nuclear sites and slammed some media coverage that claimed the strikes had limited impact. The CDC vaccine panel now recommending against certain flu vaccines that include a certain preservative. That coming on day 2 of the first meeting of the new Vaccine Advisory Committee appointed by HHS Secretary Robert F. Kennedy Jr. This is ABC News.
The Miz wins again. Hi, I'm Mike Clemens with sports. Baseball, the Brewers' new 23-year-old pitcher, Jacob Mizorowski, came through again. After walking the first batter he faced, the Miz went to work, throwing fastballs over 100 miles per hour, striking out 8, 5 scoreless innings, as the Brewers won 4-2 over the Pirates. Mizorowski, on playing before nearly 43,000 fans, the biggest crowd so far this season in Milwaukee.
I think the nerves were still there, but, you had all the guys in the clubhouse being like, okay, let's go. You got this. Keep doing what you're doing, and it's huge. Plus the guys putting up 4 runs is electric, so yeah, it's awesome.
Manager Pat Murphy.
It wasn't perfect. He used the curveball a couple key times, that came into play, but I thought his command was pretty darn good.
Basketball, the NBA draft continues. Con Knippel from Milwaukee's Wisconsin Lutheran High, taken by the Hornets with the 4th overall pick last night, the highest ever for a player from Wisconsin. The Bucks have the 47th pick tonight in the second round. With sports, I'm Mike Clemens.
On your entertainment beat, I'm Pete Schwaba. It's always fun to watch the box office prognosticators estimate what film will earn how much in theaters. The new Brad Pitt film, F1, the movie, a film set in the world of Formula One, is being called Top Gun on Wheels by people such as me, Pete Schwaba. It opens this weekend, and box office so-called experts are estimating the film will bring in $40 to $50 million. F1, the movie, is Apple Original Films' 6th theatrical wide release. Speaking of Pitt, the actor recently told a story about how he was almost fired when he was an extra. Pitt appeared on Dax Shepard's Armchair Expert podcast and talked about his life as an extra after moving to Hollywood. Pitt told Shepard while working on the Charlie Sheen movie No Man's Land, he ad-libbed a line while playing a waiter. The assistant director told him, if you do that again, you're fired. Can you imagine? His mutual man crush with George Clooney was almost unrequited. For more showbiz fun, tune into Nightlight with me, Pete Schwaba, weeknights from 6 to 8 p.m. on the Civic Media Radio Network.
As Wisconsin is cheering on the Brew Crew. This is the Civic Media Radio Network.
I'm meteorologist Mace Michaels. Scattered showers and thunderstorms tonight. Some could be strong with areas of heavy rainfall as well. Remaining cloudy with a low in the low 60s. Slight storm chance tomorrow morning, mostly cloudy, highs 70 to 75. Heating up for the weekend. Currently at 64 degrees.
For 75 years, the Muscular Dystrophy Association's voices have thundered through the halls of Congress.
For 75 years, we've willed the impossible into existence.
For 75 years, the MDA community has pushed the science,
shifted the narrative, and established the field of neuromuscular medicine.
And until that day, when this is all a thing of the past,
you couldn't stop us if you tried.
Join us and celebrate 75 years of breakthroughs at mda75.org.
The Todd Albaugh Show.
The Joint Finance Committee was leaked that they intend to cut $87 million from the UW system budget. And so we put this out on our socials last night, and today the Joint Finance Committee decided to pull that from the agenda. Because apparently, from what I'm told, Republican legislators got a lot of calls. When the truth is disseminated and people react, results can happen.
The Todd Albaugh Show, weekdays 2 to 4 on your local Civic Media radio station and on the app. John Mino and Jim Schmidt.
On Friday.
Have some fun with tonight's question, folks. If you want to get in on the action, it's National Handshake Day. I have notoriously said I am not a huge fan of the handshake recently, so this is perfect timing. The question of the night is, how do you feel about the handshake? What would be a better custom? I'll tell you what would be better. Anything than a stranger squeezing your hand. It's too intimate. It's an intimate act that we don't need in society. I think we're better than that. We've gotten a lot of great responses. Conrad's mom checks in and says, I'm okay with handshakes except for the wimpy one that makes you feel like they really don't care. Now, that would be weird, though, because then your mom would seem to be in favor of someone squeezing the living daylights out of your hand. And I don't know. We'll have to talk to your mom about that, Conrad.
All right.
All right. You're okay with that.
Sounds good.
513 says, Asia has it right with bowing. I respect you, but please don't touch me. Totally agree. 715 Tom says, thanks, guys. We're all class clowns at heart, because Tom had a great comment earlier. He says, with love. And Steve from Florida says, in my line of work, I have always felt a firm handshake was a sign of a good business relationship. Since COVID, I find a lot of my customers still prefer the fist bump over the traditional handshake. I guess I'm okay with it, but still prefer the traditional way. All right. There are no right or wrong answers, folks. There are only your answers, and we'd love to receive them, and we'll read them on the radio. We'll get to some more texts in just a bit. Right now, we're going to jump back into this conversation we've got going with our guest, Grace Koziel.
Close. Very, you're 99% there.
One more time. Say it one more time, Grace.
Koziel.
Koziel. Because I wrote
that was right. Yeah.
CO-Zeal. Zeal.
It's more like Koziel.
Koziel.
Yeah.
All right.
There you go.
All right. We are going to be lifelong friends. You do realize that, right? And this will be a blip on the radar, Grace. It's great to have you here. Grace is a filmmaker and an actress, and she is also the founder of Ruby Red Films. How on earth, because I looked this up, Grace, on TikTok, you have almost 30,000 followers. How'd you do that?
That's a great question. Sometimes I look at the follower count too, and I'm like, how did we manage to do this? And it goes back to, like I said, the proof of concept for my film Bad for Me. And we really strategically paired it with trending music. And I won't lie, our demographics are mainly women. It's 88% women. And so we really knew our audience. And so we looked at what music women were listening to. And the movie is very emotional, obviously, because it deals with, an abusive relationship. And so we really believe this combination of the music with the visuals, and it's obviously a period piece too. And I think there's something that my generation is resonating with these period pieces, because it feels authentic, or it feels refreshing. It's not 2025, visually interesting. And honestly, those elements came together, and it really took off from there.
That's so cool. Can people see the proof of concept somewhere, or is that something you keep under wraps and just show it to potential investors?
It is on Vimeo. If you look up Bad for Me and then you look up Vimeo, yeah.
And are you in the film too? Are you one of the actors?
I make a very, very brief cameo, but no. I try to not really act in my own movies, because it becomes very difficult.
Yeah, it is
for a lot of different reasons. Yeah, for a lot of different reasons. Yeah.
So, do you prefer to be behind the camera?
I prefer to direct, in all honesty.
Good for you.
Yeah, yeah. I like to be able to tell a story and look at everything and coordinate all the different little pieces, as opposed to just be someone in the scene telling part of the story.
So, as a director, a burgeoning director, who are your influences, Grace?
It's gonna sound cliche. I'm sure every young female filmmaker would tell you this, but Greta Gerwig, Sofia Coppola. I recently watched The Substance, and I can't remember the director's name. Her work seems to be really great, but it's very sad, because when we talk about female directors, we don't have many names that we can bring up off the top of our heads.
Right.
And I feel like that needs to change.
Coralie Farragut, I think is her name. Does
that
sound familiar?
That sounds, yeah. I think she's French, right?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah. And I love Sofia Coppola. I assume you're a fan of Catherine Bigelow too?
What does she make?
She's great. I think she did the Peacemaker, I want to say. She might have done I think the Hurt Locker was one of hers too.
I don't think I've seen those. Her name sounds really familiar.
She broke ground. She was I want to say she was one of the first female action directors. And it's so silly when it's why wouldn't females be able to direct action? I mean, it's a movie. It's not really happening. And even if it was, she directed The Hurt Locker, Zero Dark 30. A film I liked that I thought was underrated was called Detroit, but she's great too. I love Sofia Coppola. I love Lost in Translation. Have you seen that film?
Yeah, yeah.
It's one of my favorites. Loved it. Um, so, all right. Well, those are great. Those are great influences to have. So, where do you go from now? You've got this proof of concept, and as someone who's raised money for a movie before, I know what an uphill battle you have.
Yes.
Where do you start with that, especially at your age, just out of college? You don't have this huge track record, but you've got great social media presence. You've got a proof of concept. How do you approach investors?
So I will say we had to do some crowdfunding, and that was just the easiest way when you have a large following and you have this support system, but you don't necessarily have these people who are willing to throw thousands at you. That's sometimes one of the ways you can do it. Grants are a great thing too, especially for young filmmakers. But I will say some of the larger grants are kind of gate kept for like the indie filmmakers who are more established. So it's like, well, are you indie or are you not indie? And I won't lie, it is the hardest thing about making a movie is there's so many business, like you have to have a business proposal and a plan and like plan for investors. There's so many different things that you have to all of a sudden put on your business hat and figure out how to convince people to give you money. And I'm not going to say I'm an expert at it because I'm still learning and I'm still figuring it out.
No, but that's great. And I think that to me was an eye opener too. I remember I wrote this script and I had this producer who liked it. And then I had to learn about all this stuff like a business plan and insurance. I'm like, insurance? What? Like, but you need the set has to be insured, the actors,
Yep.
all that stuff. There's the not fun element of it, at least as far as I'm concerned. Some people love the business side of it. Do you have a good partner, someone that can help you go after money or kind of keep an eye on the other elements of the process?
I'm not gonna lie, I do end up doing a lot of those elements just because since I'm the sole owner of Ruby Red, but I do
Yeah.
have a really great group of collaborators and we are consistently working together. And either a lot of them are my classmates, some of them are not my classmates, but we've worked together, a lot of us since 2023, and we work really great together, and I can always rely on them. But some of the stuff, like you said, it's not fun. And
Right.
so it does. I do have to kind of sometimes figure it out where it's like, oh, we have to get an insurance policy for these lenses.
Right.
I guess I'm gonna figure out how to insure lenses and how much I need to have a policy actually cover.
But you are I mean, at your age, you're so far ahead of the game if you do know this stuff and if you can learn this stuff and make yourself not only for your own projects, but valuable to other filmmakers where they have to bring you in, even if it's just to do post or to, be a unit production manager. You could have like your day job be something in the film industry, which would be incredible. What do you do? You've got all these followers on TikTok. You've got almost 1 million. I think that's 1 million likes. What do you do with all these submissions? Like that seems so overwhelming. You said you get a lot of people like that are trying to get seen, like that are in a similar kind of boat as you, but they're trying to be actors. How do you
Yeah.
manage all the submissions you get?
So for our short, we received 2,000 submissions from legitimately
Oh
all
my
across the
goodness.
world, mainly central to the United States. And the approach that I've tried to take is because I'm also in a similar position to them, is how can I teach them what I'm seeing from my perspective. So obviously we have to reject a lot of people, but a way that I've kind of turned it into a positive thing is like, let me tell you what you can do to increase your chances of being picked for a project based on what I'm seeing. And so I've tried to kind of make it as accessible to young actors or people who don't have acting experience as possible, because I really do believe that sometimes you need that helping hand of, okay, well, what do I submit when someone asks for a headshot? And
Yeah.
let's say I don't have a headshot. What type of picture should I submit? Should I submit a picture with my family, or should I submit a selfie of myself in front of the wall? And so that's the way that I've tried to reframe it and make it as positive as possible without feeling bad,
Yeah.
with saying no to so many people, because I don't love to say no to so many people because I see that as 2,000 people with hopes and dreams just like me.
Well, the
So
other alternative is you write 2,000 parts in your movie. So I think you got to
right.
get good at saying no, Grace.
Yep. Yep.
Grace Koziel is my guest here on Nightlight right now. She is an aspiring filmmaker based in Milwaukee and the founder of Ruby Red Films, which you can follow on TikTok or Instagram. What is as far as you're concerned, and you're new to the scene, I get that, but has Milwaukee have a good film community so far? Have you met great people there, or what's the climate like?
I've met a lot of great people, but I won't lie, it's small. Everyone seems to know everyone, or everyone's 1 degree away from each other.
Okay.
But there is a lot of momentum right now, and I will say that. I don't know if you're familiar, they're trying to get tax incentives passed right now, and I've talked to a couple different people who have been a part of that movement for years, and they're saying, like, out of all the years that they've been a part of this year feels like the year with the most momentum and the most interest in this tax incentive being passed. And so I think it is a very, very supportive and tight-knit community. It's just small, but there's benefits to it being small. You know, you have access to more things, more connections. So yeah, it's growing, and I'm really hopeful with the tax incentives that Wisconsin in general could just become a hub for filmmaking.
Absolutely. We've got Jeffrey Kurz and Nathan Deming will be on the show Monday night talking about that very topic, Action Wisconsin. Grace, one more question for you. What are you watching? Can you recommend something to binge?
Okay, it's with everything I've said, this is going to be probably a curveball, but I recently finished The Righteous Gemstones, which is on HBO.
Sure.
And it's a comedy, very, very absurdist comedy, and it's just hilarious, and it's so absurd. And they just wrapped up the show, and the last episode was just like a masterclass in how you end a series. I loved it.
Did you watch it, Conrad? Did you watch the Gemstones?
You know, I've seen the first season. I just haven't gone past that.
I got to get to White Lotus season 3, but the Righteous Gemstones is on my list too. Grace, thank you so much for your time tonight. Thanks for reaching out to the show. It's great to meet a new budding filmmaker. I wish you luck, and don't be a stranger. Keep us posted on everything, okay?
Awesome. Thank you for having me, guys.
You're very welcome. Grace Koziel.
Yes.
Boom.
Take care.
Right. We're coming right back to wrap things up, folks. It's Pete Schwaba and Nightlight on the Civic Media Radio Network.
I drive off in my car, but whichever way I go, I come back to the place you are. All my instincts, they return. The grand facade so soon will burn.
Come work with us. Civic Media has a number of great jobs across the state. Open now at civicmedia.us/careers.
I'm Dan Schaefer. Let's recombobulate. For the last few months, Governor Tony Evers has said repeatedly that he would make a decision about whether or not to run for a third term after the state budget process is completed. In a recent opinion column at the recombobulation area, I made the argument that the decision that Evers should make should be to not seek a third term as Wisconsin's governor. This argument is not one of ideological differences or policy disagreements. Tony Evers has been a good governor and has served the state well. This more has to do with Evers' age. He'll be 75 years old in November 2026, and about how the Democratic Party has had a massive, inescapable problem in its unwillingness to pass the torch to the next generation. Tony Evers needs to do what so many other Democrats have struggled so mightily to do and step aside when the time is right. And after Joe Biden's catastrophic 2024, this is a conversation we need to be having, and we need to be having it now. Democrats can't keep repeating the same mistakes over and over. It's time to do things differently.
Find all of Dan's work at the recombobulation area.
My part-time service in the Army National Guard makes it possible for me to be more for the community I call home. My training helps me at work when I lead by example. The Army National Guard has taught me the value of showing respect to those I come in contact with each day. My service also allows me to be there for my community in ways others can't. I help my hometown recover after nature strikes. My service in the Army National Guard allows me to keep my country and those I care about safe from threats. I also work with a network of professionals that help me succeed and accomplish the mission. Plus, the Army National Guard education benefits make getting a higher education a reality. Being an Army National Guard soldier makes living and serving in my community more rewarding every day. Learn how you too can live and serve part-time, close to home by visiting NationalGuard.com.
Sponsored by the Wisconsin Army National Guard. Aired by the Wisconsin Broadcasters Association and this station.
Matt Nair on air.
From articles that I have seen, if you are a bagel purist, you should not toast your bagel. I think nothing's better than a toasted bagel and a schmear.
Folks, do we have a moment of honesty? Do you really like bagels, or do you like the schmear that is transported by them? Get rid of the stigma. If I walk into this room eating cream cheese out of a tub with a spoon.
Why is that wrong?
Matt Nair on air. Weekday mornings 9 to 11 on your local Civic Media radio station and on the app.
In sitcoms, when someone has a problem, they just blurt it out and move on.
Well, I lost my job and my parakeet is missing. How was your day?
But the real world is different. Managing life's challenges can be overwhelming. So, what do? We get support. The Huntsman Mental Health Institute and the Ad Council have mental health resources available for you at loveyourmindtoday.org. That's loveyourmindtoday.org. See how much further you can go when you take care of your mental health.
Welcome back. I'm Pete Schwaba, folks. This is Nightlight. It's great to have you with me for a few more minutes.
Why do you sound so sad?
Well, I fell for something last night. I'm not proud of myself. It was clickbait. It was on Yahoo. It said Colin Jost and Scarlett Johansson discuss their Wisconsin home. And they have nothing to do with Wisconsin. They must, obviously they know I'm from Wisconsin. Maybe I don't know. Can they read your thoughts now? The algorithms?
You know what's crazy is I don't know if you've
think about Scarlett Johansson a lot. Not as much Colin Jost.
Have you seen those ads? I think recently it's a Caitlin Clark ad, State Farm. And in it, she says a town name. She says Sheboygan.
Oh.
But it's tailored towards every state.
Yeah, of course. She just reads like 50 cities. Okay. Yeah, it's a ripoff. And I have to admit, I clicked on it, and then I'm scrolling down, and they make you click again, and I'm like, first of all, I don't even care if they live in Wisconsin. How does it affect me? It doesn't.
Why'd you click on it?
I don't know, but I looked at like 50. I was looking, it was like home prices and where people live, and it's just ridiculous. It's nonsense. A lot of them aren't even, so-and-so's home is worth $2 million in Malibu. Oh, yeah. Sylvester Stallone has a $2 million home in Malibu. Maybe he paid that in the early 60s. That's not even possible. It's a joke. Folks, tomorrow night, another great show. It's a Bar Band Friday night. Terry Barr will be here with new music and great conversation. And we will also talk to Mary Hauser. She is the executive director of the Plymouth Area Chamber of Commerce, and she is going to be here to talk about the Cheese Capital Festival. This is a bash. I can't wait to talk about this tomorrow night. That's at 6:35. And who knows? Maybe we'll squeeze another guest in there. I reached out to Brittany Merlot because I want weather answers.
You want answers now.
I want answers now. But another great show tomorrow night. And lots of fun next week, too. It'll be a short week for us, but we'll give you all the details on Monday with new original shows Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday of next week. And still a lot of fun Thursday, Friday, and Monday, which will be off. So Steve from Florida says, he's adding to his, I just saw this. So your dad said he still prefers to shake hands.
Yep.
He says also, thanks, Conrad, for bringing back a funny memory when you and your cousin got busted at the Baraboo Bowling Alley for calling 911 on the payphone. That sounds like something that would happen in Fast Times at Ridgemont High or Dazed and Confused. Just call 911, dude. He says, even though we turned the situation into a teaching moment, it still makes me laugh. That's a great text, Steve. Glad you got to take your dad back down memory lane. That's pretty cool. Bridget in the 818 says, I could do without the handshake. I like a simple nod or the occasional elbow bump. That's just so subversive.
Yeah, I don't think I've elbow bumped since COVID.
Yeah, same. Bridget says, it is healthier. Viruses are getting brutal. Oh, boy. Thank you, Bridget, for that text. I kind of agree. I don't have a problem with the elbow bump. It's a little awkward, but, why not the elbow bump? Steady Eddie from the 608 says, Pete, the handshake is a good way to build up one's immune system. Steady Eddie is always a glass half full guy.
Yeah.
You want to touch someone else's disgusting hand, Steady Eddie, that's your prerogative. He says, if the handshake germs don't kill you, they will make you stronger. Me personally, as a greeting, I'm now using the finger gun. Point and shoot option. That's kind of Conrad just did it. I know I had to
nice
do it
to meet you.
Yeah, nice to meet you. Hope to shoot you. A double point and shoot, and adding a wink and mouth side effects. Mouth sound effects are awesome. So you go double pointers, a wink, and a mouth sound effect? That would really give me the creeps. Steady Eddie says, works like a charm. I encourage you to try it, Pete. I'm going to try it right now. So it would be like oh, wow. I feel like a really cheesy human being doing that. Thank you, Steady Eddie, for the insights. And then we missed a text from Dave Kunish earlier, too. He says, have you seen the new Jack Link's commercial, Yeti meets Sasquatch? I have not.
Do they shake hands?
I don't know. But they're already awash with germs, I would think.
Yeah, they probably don't care.
They probably don't care. They don't know what's going on. So there you go, folks. That's basically a show. I'm trying to think if I had all this other stuff I wanted to get to. But I think overall, the worst handshake is the one like when the guy's finger goes up your wrist. It is just so creepy.
I think it's when you're limp and then you got your hands all crushed.
First of all, you don't offer your hand limp, do you? I know people can that would be like a guy, you want him to kiss your hand or something.
When you accidentally don't put that much pressure on the handshake, you're just getting it all crushed, and you're like, well, this sucks. I don't even like meeting you now.
I don't think there's anything wrong with, at that point, too, going, look, you might as well kiss my hand since you've already crushed all the bones in it. And there was always the 70s shake, too, where you would go in like the, hey, peace, brother kind of. And then I think it turned into a black thing where they start like that, then they pull out and they put force on it. The black community has the best handshakes.
What's that?
Just, how they do. They have all these things like you go in and then you snap your fingers. Remember that one? You kind of go in with the regular handshake. It segues into like a hippie handshake. And then you pull your fingers apart and you kind of hold it like this a bit, and then you snap them, or you do this and you snap it.
Okay. I do like when you do a kind of like a handshake, but not really.
Like a quick skin thing, maybe?
A quick skin, and then you hug.
All right.
A quick, brief hug,
A quick, brief hug. A barely touching
slap
hug.
slap on the back.
I'm going to try that on the way to my car. I'll do some research and come back tomorrow night, let you know what I find out. Thanks so much to Grace Koziel, Conrad.
You got it.
Grace Koziel and Tom Clark for making the popcorn pick of the week, folks. It's Repo Man. And thank you for all your texts and calls. Always fun when you guys participate. We'll be back to do this all again tomorrow night. It's Nightlight with Pete Schwaba. On behalf of the lovable producer, Conrad, I'm Pete Schwaba saying good night, Wisconsin.
I'll take you to your best friend's house, Mama.